Manchester City or Sporting then will be the opponents for Real Madrid. Frank Leboeuf joins us. Craig, it's weird, isn't it? Real Madrid are through, fine, okay, good.
Yep.
It's difficult not to start this, though, with kind of a negative angle, because once again we're sat here and Real Madrid's best player was Thibaut Courtois.
Yeah, and if you're into the expected goals, Benfica had the upper hand. Hence the Thibaut Courtois making some great saves. And again, a bit like the Galatasaray Juventus situation, Benfica, huge club, but hardly a strong arm in European football these days. But gave as good as they got. In fact, they shot themselves in the foot because once they take the lead, they make this horrendous basic error that allowed the Tchouaméni goal, and that just settled the crowd down a little bit because you know yourself, you watch Real Madrid, when other teams start to boss possession, the crowd get more restless, and as they get more restless, the players get more tense. But Benfica didn't really allow that to happen by making that mistake. That being said, the game was still on a knife edge until late in the game. But yeah, I'm seeing nothing from Real Madrid that makes me think, apart from La Liga, where there is a title race, that they're going to go anywhere near in this competition. I might be wrong, but I don't think so. I'm seeing nothing that's suggesting that when they come up against a really solid outfit, one of the real big boys that are playing well, whether it be Bayern Munich or if PSG up their game, and I know they had the struggles, or Arsenal or anybody else like that, or maybe even Barcelona again, I think they're going to get their comeuppance because they're just not playing very well. They're giving a lot of chances away. And again, they're relying on moments of magic. Yeah. A breakaway for the Vinicius goal, a mistake for the Tchouaméni goal. It's not really about the team for Real Madrid at the moment. It's about seizing on opportunities, which is part of the game, but that's kind of how they're getting the results.
But is it not an argument people watch Real Madrid fans saying, look, they're out with no Kylian Mbappe, no Jude Bellingham, two of their best players, they get through, get on with it.
Yeah, and so if you're those Real Madrid fans that you're talking about and you're walking away from Santiago Bernabeu tonight, are you encouraged or discouraged? You're encouraged that you've gone through, but given the performance, you are discouraged knowing full well that it's not just about this game, that even when those players were on the field, these are the sort of performances that you're getting from Real Madrid. Today was about survival for Real Madrid at Santiago Bernabeu. And that in itself, I think, and it's not an exaggeration when I say that it was about survival, it felt like Real Madrid were in trouble today against Benfica. And it took those moments of brilliance that Craig is talking about in order for them to be able to survive this very scary stage of the competition. A stage of the competition that they got themselves into because they allowed late goals to Benfica. So there were a lot of things about this that may have pointed in the direction of Real Madrid being in trouble, given the injuries, given the absences, given Mourinho, given the history, and yet they're able to advance. So from that point of view, you say, you take a deep breath and you allow yourself to settle the nerves, if you will, in Santiago Bernabeu. But it's not just about today. And I go back to my initial point. This is who they were in the weekend against Osasuna. This is what they have been over the course of the season. So when is it going to get significantly better, consistently better? We are yet to find that answer. And of course, we're yet to find what the best version of this team is when everybody's healthy. Because when everybody's healthy, they have actually looked worse than when everybody's not healthy. So that in itself is a challenge for Arbeloa and for this club. But to Craig's point, this is not a team that you bank on winning this competition.
You just feel that any attack can get through this defence, Frank. We saw Trent, of course, starting. He hasn't had the best of times, mainly because of injury since joining from Liverpool. But there are so many errors that just seem to continually happen in defence. You come up against a proper side, Real Madrid are going to get destroyed.
Yeah, definitely. We didn't learn anything positive from Real Madrid, and especially from the defense. I found them very fragile. Yeah, with Trent on the right side, but hasn't been helped by Asensio, who, if he started very well his young career, is having doubts right now. And on top of it, he got a big injury today, but he wasn't at his best. And you can feel that they don't communicate very well. They don't cover each other very well. And also in the middle of the park, and they weren't, even if Tchouaméni, Camavinga and Valverde are absolutely fantastic players, I don't feel that they can support and help the defense the way they should do. Fortunately for them, they still have the best goalkeeper in the world with Courtois, and Courtois made like 2 or 3 saves today, who helped Real Madrid to go through. But yeah, as I think it's correct we say that, you know, there are no build up. There is no consistency in that team. It's only something special, something special coming at a certain point, like Vinicius Junior scoring that fantastic goal, and he was the only one creating something. Mbappe would have been there, maybe it would have been a different story. But I found for most of the game, let's say 80 minutes, Benfica being better than Real Madrid. So as Ale said, they're going through, okay, they can breathe, good, but if you want to make a bet, right now, I'm ready to bet that Real Madrid won't win the Champions League.
Well, Vinicius Junior's changed, hasn't he? He's got better under Arbeloa.
Well, I suppose 1 or 2 of the alleged bad apples seem happier. I suppose that's one thing. Results have sort of gone their way for the most part. They were top of the league there for a little bit. They're in a title race for sure. They may scrape it out in La Liga. I don't think they may. Depends on Barcelona. I don't think they'll scrape it out in the Champions League, continually playing like that. But apart from that, sort of, everybody's maybe a bit happier behind the scenes because they got rid of that manager, that Alonso guy who was trying to change things. But in terms of looking at them playing from where Alonso was to where they are now, there's not, and I know they've got some injuries you mentioned, there's not a lot of difference, is there? It's kind of the same old bland kind of football, getting outplayed by mediocre teams and again relying on whether it's Mbappe or Vinicius or somebody to do that something special. So we haven't really seen an Arbeloa effect on the way they play. It's what's happening behind the scenes might have changed, which I suppose maybe that's what they wanted. But I thought that we would maybe see something a little bit livelier and quicker on the field in terms of a reaction. But we haven't really seen that. But, you know, they've got the result, that's what they'll say. But yeah, there's still a disappointing side to actually watch.
It's interesting Craig brings that up because obviously the opponents that Real Madrid could face are Sporting or Manchester City. And you think back to that Manchester City game in December, obviously City going to the Bernabeu winning 2-1. And the big talking point was, oh yeah, but look how hard Real Madrid worked in the second half. They worked as a team. Obviously, they still lost the game. But to Craig's point, it's like, what difference have we seen from that Real Madrid side to this Real Madrid side with a new manager? It's very difficult to pinpoint much.
Well, I would argue that they were better in that game against Manchester City than they were today against Benfica. This team right now, it's amazing to see Trent Alexander-Arnold trying to play what some would call defending. That is an insult to defending. He made Sheldrup look like he was the best winger in the history of mankind. I thought it was Garrincha running at Trent Alexander-Arnold. Look, and it's not just that. I have said that one of the things that Arbeloa has done is figure out that, okay, now that you're playing with a proper right back, allegedly, that frees up Fede Valverde to go into the midfield, which should make you, on paper, a better team, and structurally a better team alongside Tchouaméni, who I thought was running around all over the place today and covered a whole lot of ground, and Camavinga. And apparently they're allowed to rotate positions in the midfield. And that's all fine and well, so long as you know what is it that is your start position when you lose the ball. The goal today by Benfica, Camavinga finds himself in a position like, oh, I'm supposed to go and chase that? I'm supposed to go and defend? Tchouaméni is running this way, Camavinga is running that way, Fede Valverde is running that way, and in the middle there is no presence. So that's no better than what it was back then. I'm only giving you all of this to paint the picture that right now where they are, they're no better than what they were back then. And it goes then back to a very simple concept. Is Vini happy to play under Arbeloa? Yes, he is. He has been impactful. He has changed games, and far better when Mbappe is not on the field. Do they still depend on Mbappe scoring goals? Yes, they do. They very much do. And do they depend on Thibaut Courtois coming up with saves, saving the matches for them time and time again? Yes. None of that has changed. So there is no improvement. To your point, back then against Manchester City, they were better than they were today against Benfica, and they're going to have to be significantly better if in this competition, if indeed they're going to advance.
Who are you picking, Frank, if it is indeed City Madrid?
If they play City, you're asking?
Yes, sir.
Well, City hasn't been the best team either, so it's hard to say. But I would give a more chance to City. I think City are getting a little bit better right now than they used to be. During the season, and they're getting more stabilized, I would say. And if I have to make a choice, I would have to go for Manchester City right now.
Just a reminder, Barca and Real Madrid, of course, both in action this weekend, live on ESPN+. Barca take on Villarreal. They're looking, of course, to extend their lead at the top of the table. Villarreal looked impressive this season until they come up against the big boys. That's 9:45 Eastern on ESPN+. And then Real Madrid are playing on Monday against Getafe, 2:30, also, of course, on ESPN+.